cooperate rather than compete wherever possible, sharing knowledge and experience in order to further the cause, in this case, of improving housing for people across Brighton and beyond. So with this support and a whole load of determination, Selby was able to produce a number of official documents, including a business case, architect's brief, loan stock document, and you're very welcome to have a look at these. We also developed a sophisticated spreadsheet and got it to a point where we could see that our plans were frankly a long shot. So this was compounded by ever-increasing prices, as demonstrated by pieces of land that we were using as case studies going for much more than expected. Also bunkers costings that we were basing a lot of our projections on were coming in above cost. And these issues just fragged our spreadsheets and meant that they simply weren't stacking up. However, knowledge is power, so from this we decided to consider other angles such as leasing rather than buying land, which we decided in the end would be our most viable option. We also started to consider opening up our membership or looking at morphing with other co-ops in order to share the inhibitive costs of buying land and building in our current capitalist climate. Simultaneously, we'd been already attending community consultations in our community that were being organised by Ian and Caroline Bailey with the support of Dot Kirk and the Land Trust. We'd been lending our knowledge of housing cooperatives and community-led developments that we'd gained from working with the Land Trust to these events. And it became clear that there was both a need and a desire for community-led housing in Coldine. And it soon became clear that forming a new organisation to deliver a broader community project in Coldine in response to the consultation there was the best way forward for our neighbourhood and for Selby to achieve its new build aims. And so, Coldine Community Organisation was born, and I hope you might have each got to have attended the talks given by them. So we've kind of now morphed into become a part of them. So yeah, interestingly, since there's a drive to develop a sports hall and community centre in Coldine, spearheaded by the Bevingdean Gymnastics Club, we found ourselves back looking at community facilities as part of our plans, our original dream. So while Selby still owns its house and is considering extending on the property in order to house more people on the same site, the knowledge of the new build and experience of the documents and the processes that are involved that we learn have been passed over and into the Coldine Community Organisation. After much consideration, we've set up CORG, as we're calling it, as a community benefit society rather than a cooperative. Although these legal structures are both societies and answerable to the Financial Services Authority, the main difference is that the co-ops exist to serve their members, whereas a CBS exists to serve its community. Obviously, co-ops are usually considerate anyway by their nature of their broader community, but it just felt more appropriate in our setting to formalise that relationship. So yeah, the grant funding and practical support received from the Land Trust has just been so invaluable, and we certainly wouldn't have got to where we are now and had the confidence to be going forward in our projects and sharing that confidence with other groups. So yeah, thank you very much, Community Land Trust. It's been amazing to allow us to get to where we are. That's it. The house that we bought in Coldine was actually one of our members' grandfather's house, and so yeah, we have a heritage there, and he's actually the uncle of my children, so it's all a bit like, and his name was Selby, he was Grandpa Selby, so we called it Selby. Coldine's quite got a lot of houses multiple occupancy for the students, bless you, which is great, but it's not good for any of them. It's not good for either sides, because the local people get priced out as much as it's not good for students as well. So it's quite an issue in Coldine.
One of the things I know you talked about is what is local. So if you have a group based in an area of Brighton like Coldine, who has a connection to Coldine? Because one of the things Polly's talked about is how she's had to move out of Coldine, and then coming back she's been priced out. So I think one of the interesting things about the Coldine project is recognising that, you know, it's not just that simple that you say you've got to live in Coldine. It's about people who who had history in Coldine and got priced out, being able to come back. So there isn't that like strict thing of like it's an area and you're in it or you're not. It's about connections and legitimate connections. So
And it's been quite interesting. We're evolving this at the moment, like an eligibility thing, and it's really interesting. Like you say, there's many layers, so we haven't entirely finalised it all, but yeah, it's balancing. It's also balancing what people would bring to the area, or they might have, like you say, they might have work connections, or be an amazing teacher, and the school needs an art teacher, or so there's all like such a lot to consider. It's the same with your affordability. You want to help people on the lower end of the scale, of course, but then also why would you not want somebody because they're doing all right? So there's this whole like trying to balance it. So you'll have like a co-op, or we'll still have. You're basically normally in a small co-op. You're all kind of like the directors, because you'll all attend the meetings, and you'll be the management committee, whatever you want to call it. You'll all be that. Whereas with a community benefit society, it's slightly larger. So you're going to have you'll have a core team of directors, but then they'll feed into working groups. So you'll have certain subject areas that will be covered by those working groups that will feed in and out of the decisions of the directors. So it just means that you can be larger and you can cover different aspects. And there is still a degree of control, if you like, by people that have got the knowledge and the understanding. But anyone can feed in and out of that theoretically. Anyone from your community can come and can join. And it's not all. With ours, it's not all about the housing. And I know that the South Downs Eco are kind of considering it also, because they've got work units and all that kind of stuff. So and it's big. So you kind of want to have a way where there's like a core management team. But yeah, it's broader. It's looking out to the whole community. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I was just going to say another reason that we were looking at CBS rather than co-operatives. CBS has a longer lifespan potential as well in terms of legacy. So for us, Colding Community Organisation, we really want to make sure that even after Polly, myself and the other directors aren't around being involved necessarily in the day-to-day running of it, the principles of that organisation continue. And so the CBS allows that to happen. It doesn't mean things can't evolve and shift, but the fundamentals are set down.
You can't just go off on a tangent, it's like we have policies and we're hammering them out really carefully and really thinking about them, and that is then that policy, and until you review it and you change it, it remains so. So you can without fear, you can invite people in, because they can come and chat all they like, but at the end of the day, that's the policy. And unless it goes through the proper process of meetings and is approved and represents what the evolving needs are in that community, it can't. It's a two-way street of protection but openness.
And also it sounds broader in terms of it's not just housing, but it can be activities, and in that case, is it also possible to get your reach for funding and facilitating things is broader as well?
Yeah, and we're kind of working on that at the moment. It's all blowing our minds a little bit, because for myself, coming from the housing aspect and then trying to jump onto the community centre side of it, it's been brilliant, but it's quite like, okay, so and we haven't worked all that out. We're now going for different funding to help us to understand the best way forward, because maybe we do need another organisation to manage the housing. We haven't decided that for sure, whether the CBS, it would just be the CBS, or whether we'll need some subgroup. So that's part of what we've applied for funding, is to try to understand.
Brighton and Hove Community Land Trust supports groups of people who want to create their own community-led housing projects. Join us at bhclt.org.uk.